นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ May I pay homage to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the self-enlightened one. So, very good evening, everyone. Respectfully, dear Venerable Sirs, our friends in Dhamma around the globe. Today, it's a great pleasure, it's a great honor for me to share the holy words of the Buddha with you. I'm taking this a great opportunity to express my sincere thanks to Brother Mickey, who is running the Buddhist channel, for inviting me to share the sacred words, the teaching of the Buddha with every one of you. So, as you know, the teachings of the Buddha is written in Pali. The container of the teaching is called Tipitaka in Pali. The direct translation is 3 baskets. It means the teachings of the Buddha includes 3 sections. First one is Vinaya Pitaka, the disciplinary codes of the one who is intent to liberate himself from the suffering. And second one is Sutta Pitaka. It refers to the philosophical conversation, discussion, debate of the Buddha between his disciples, householders, religious leaders, and so on. And the third one is Abhidhamma Pitaka. It refers to the profound, ultimate, and absolute teachings of the Buddha. But today, I have selected one discourse from the Sutta Pitaka. Its name is Adhammika Sutta. And the direct translation is Unrighteous. If you ever read the teachings of the Buddha, the numerical discourse of the Buddha translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi, the sutta is at the page of 458. Okay, so for further elaboration, you can refer to the book. Before describing the discourse, I would like to bring your attention to the consequences of listening to the Dhamma or the teaching of the Buddha. We human have different ideas, different views, different philosophies of different kinds of things in our life. We call it sometimes attitudes. So if our attitudes are positive, our life become positive. So through listening to the Dhamma or Dhamma Talk, you will purify, you will correct your attitudes. It means you will have the opportunity to change the way you think, to change the way you interpret the world, to change the way you look at the world. So the advantage of listening to the Dhamma is you will be benefited the right reflection. In Pali, we call it yonaso manasikara. The simple translation is right attitudes. Okay, so you need that during the COVID-19. Okay, so let us go to the description of the sutta. I am going to dissect the discourse into three parts: the first part, second part, and the final part, for convenience to understand the discourse. So on one occasion, the Buddha called the monk, bhikkhus, when the kings are unrighteous, the royal vassals are unrighteous. When the royal vassals are unrighteous, the Brahmins and householders become unrighteous. When the Brahmins and householders are unrighteous, the people of the towns and countryside become unrighteous. When the people of the town and countryside are unrighteous, the moon, the sun and moon proceed of course. When the sun and moon proceed of course, the constellations and stars proceed of course. When the constellations, when the stars proceed of course, the day and night proceed of course. When the day and night proceed of course, the months and fortnights proceed of course. When the months and fortnights proceed of course, the seasons and years proceed of course. When the seasons and years proceed of course, the wind, okay, the winds blow of course. When the winds blow of course, the divine beings or deities become upset. When the deities are upset, the sufficient rain does not fall. When the sufficient rain does not fall, the crops ripen irregularly. When the human eat unripened crops, they will become short-lived, ugly, weak, and sickly. So this is the first half of the discourse. And let me explain you. What I want to understand from the first part of the discourse is we can have a clear idea why every single of human in today's society is sick or is inflicted by various kinds of diseases. So this is the Buddhist position. Let me start. Okay, the first part is Buddha said, when the kings are unrighteous. So let me replace the word kings, because at that time, different states are administered by kings. But in today's context, we can use the word presidents and prime ministers simply. So when the presidents, when the prime ministers are unrighteous, it means when they are mentally and physically corrupted or undisciplined. His sons, daughters are corrupted or undisciplined or unrighteous. So when his entire family is corrupted, and the second term is, we call it Brahmins and householders. In modern context, it refers to the advisors of the presidents, of the prime ministers. So when the advisors of the prime ministers, of the president are unrighteous, undisciplined, the businessmen or entrepreneurs are unrighteous, undisciplined. So when the presidents, when the prime ministers, his officers, his son, his daughters, his entire family, and then his advisors, the businessmen around him are unrighteous, you know what happened to the society? The people of the towns, of the cities, of the countryside, of the provinces are corrupted, are undisciplined, are unrighteous. So what I want to say here is, so the entire humanity, starting from the leader to the normal people, when the entire human is corrupted, undisciplined, you know what happened next? Their bad behavior, their bad words, their bad mentality will affect the cosmos, sun, moon, constellations, and stars, and we call it cosmos. So when the entire cosmos is in unbalanced process, in the sutta it is when they are proceeding, of course it means they are erratic. Their journey is not in their natural process. Their journey is out of natural process. So when the entire cosmology is erratic, is poisonous, you know what happened next? Even the rain, even the winds will become erratic. But before that, the day, the night, the months, the week, or seasons or years become erratic. Out of order. They don't function according to the natural process. So, when the entire weather, when the entire climate is erratic, you know what happened? Even the wind, even the rain are not that healthy. They are poisonous. So wherever we grow, the crops, the farmers plant, the farmers are planting, become sick. So we human consume, eat wherever the farmers are planting. So what I want to say, the mentality of the human has a harmful impact on the cosmology, on the environment, on the climate, on the weather. In return, we eat the unhealthy food. That is why we are becoming sick, weak, ugly, and short-lived. And so what I want our friends in Dhamma to understand is, even though in this discourse it doesn't mention about the COVID-19, but it mentioned about the sickness. So the sickness is created by the way we live according to this discourse. Simply, the word unrighteous, it is very broad, it is very complicated, but I can say that, let me elaborate that. I mean, when the entire humanity, I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm talking about our collective responsibility. When the entire humanity is undisciplined, we kill each other, we steal each other belongings, we engage in sexual misconduct, cheating everyone, telling lies, and let ourselves intoxicated by the drugs, by the alcohol, and so on and so on. These unhealthy behaviors will influence the entire cosmology, our environment, our climate. So we are sick, not because someone else. We are sick, we are inflicted by different diseases as the result of our own way of living. We stay away from the morality. I mean, we don't have compassion, we don't have loving kindness, we have selfishness, we have hatred, we have anger. So these negativities will come back to our life. That is why we have to understand. I'm sorry. So who make the planet sick? This is the question we have to ask ourselves. The answer from the discourse is, we, the one, make the planet sick. So when the air, when the water is polluted, in return, our physicality will be polluted. We physically will be sick. So again, I will ask you a question: who make the humanity sick? Our mentality. Because according to the discourse, when the entire humanity is sick, undisciplined, unrighteous, everything around the human will be erratic, will be sickly. So this is what I want you to understand. So in simple terms, unhealthy mentality of human leads to devastating cosmos. Devastating cosmos leads to toxic climate. Toxic climate leads to poisonous weather. Poisonous weather leads to I call it poisonous crops. It means artificial crops with contamination. So artificial crops with contaminations leads to sickness. So this is how we get sick. Okay, so That is why there is a saying, I mean, how harmful human mind is will be understandable when we profoundly focus on the statement. The earth is big enough to provide the human needs, not the human greed. Or in other words, the planet provides enough to satisfy the human needs, not the human greed. It means our planet is more than enough for us to satisfy our need. But the issue, the calamities, the chaos we are encountering is the planet cannot bear anymore the greediness of the human. That is why the planet is getting sick. When the planet is getting sick, the air, the water are polluted. In return, because we are living on the planet is our home, planet is our shelter. So when the air, when the water are polluted, we will be sick. It is natural, it is conditioned according to Buddhism. And you know, there are many water pollution, air pollution, and it is very obvious the deforestation. What I want you to understand that this is our own creation. This is human action. No one created this for us. So what I want you to understand, COVID-19 or cancer or any kinds of diseases are our creation. This is the power of the negative mentality. So what you have to understand is what goes around comes around. You will be treated the way you treat the planet. This is the saying. So let me go back to discourse. So what I want you to understand is build up a right understanding that, oh my goodness, everything is created by us, even the COVID-19, by our negative mentality. So what is the solution? This is the important point we have to discuss. Okay, so the second part of the discourse is about the solution. And it's very simple. But let me briefly describe. Hope you remember that, you know, the first part started with when the kings are unrighteous. So the second part, you just change the unrighteous to righteous. It's very simple. Okay, so when the kings are righteous, his royal vassals are righteous. So it starts. So when the royal vassals are righteous, the Brahmins and householders become righteous. So when the Brahmins, householders are righteous, the people of the town are righteous. So let me stop here. And you can understand now, before, in the first part, it was the unrighteous. Now it is righteous. Discipline, not corrupted. I mean, the entire humanity, starting from the king to the people of towns and countryside, are healthy mentally and physically. And as I elaborated earlier, in the modern terms, you know, the leaders can be presidents, can be prime ministers, ministers, and so on, businessmen, advisors, I mean, everyone, every single of us, when our mind, okay, when our mind not corrupted, healthy, the cosmos, okay, the moon, then the star, then the constellation, the moon, the sun, the moon, the constellations, the stars will proceed on course. It means they will be proceed according to their natural process. So when the sun, when the moon, when the constellations, when the stars proceed on course, you know what happened next? As to remember, the night, the day and night will proceed on course. So when the day and night, and then months, years proceed on course, seasons, years will proceed on course. And then the winds will blow, on course. Then what happened next? The divine beings are not upset, they are happy. And the final one, the next one, even the rain fall down regularly. And what happened? The crops will ripen, will ripen regularly, and we will eat. The human will eat the ripened crop, the healthy crops. So again, it is the we call it the circle process. So let me elaborate again. So to lead a healthy life, to lead a long life or beautiful or strong, if human want to be long lived, strong, beautiful, healthy, what they have to do is they have to keep their mind healthy. Okay, so but let me go dissect the word righteous here. According to Buddhism, the leaders or the kings must consist of tenfold virtues of ruler. I hope you know that. First one is Dharma. So Dharma is a charity. It means that kings or leaders must be ready enough to sacrifice his time for the sake of the public, for the sake of humanity. He can share his knowledge, he can share his wealth for the sake of everyone. It means that the leaders, the kings, must think that I am the servant of my people. Okay, so this is the qualities of the king, of the leader. And the second one is morality, and you know that virtues. The kings, the leaders must follow the rules, the regulation and law of the country. And the third one is parijjaga. The direct translation is altruism. It means that you have not to be, the king or the leader must not be selfish. So when we are talking about selfishness, that he is intent, he is willing to sacrifice everything, not for his own family, but for the entire humanity. It is we call altruistic behavior, altruism, no selfishness. His service is selfishness. He sacrifice his life for the sake of others. And then Ajava, it means honesty, fidelity. Yes, the king, the leader must be honest to himself and to his citizen. And then Madhava means gentleness. The kings, the leaders must be kind, must be compassionate to his citizen, to his people. And then Tapa, the kings must be self-disciplined or self-control. It means that he is not allowed to do whatever he wants or according to his senses, okay, or according to his desire. He is not allowed to do or to make decision according to his senses. He must make a strong decision for the sake of everyone. That is why he needs a self-control, self-discipline. He must not be controlled by the lust, by the intoxicants, or by the money. That is why we call it self-control. He has to manage everything properly. He has to manage everything in a wisely way. I mean, for the sake of everyone. And then Tapa, and then another one is Kanti. It means patience. The kings and the leaders must be patient to some extent. At some point, you cannot express your anger, you cannot express your jealousy, you cannot express your hatred to oppress your opposition or anyone who express their ideas against you. Okay, so we call it Kanti. And another aspect of Kanti is you have to be patient when calamities or chaos or disaster occurring in the country. You have to be patient to make a decision. And then the another one is, we call it non-violence. Non-violence. So the way of ruling the country according to Buddhism is non-violence. You cannot spread violence, or you cannot use the violence, to control the people. And the final one is very important. So today we don't have enough time to go, or to dissect these 10 qualities. That is why I briefly describe. So the final one is accept the ideas of other. It means humbleness. You cannot suppress, you cannot oppress the ideas of others, thinking that you are always right. You have to consult, or you must seek the advice from different people. So these are the 10 qualities for one who is intent to be the leader, or for one who is considered as a leader. So let me count again. So the first one is charity, morality, altruism, and then patience, and then non-violence, and then I can't forget the order. So and in Pali we call it Dasaraja Dhamma. So the English translation is 10-fold virtues of rule. So you can study more. So what I want to say, if you wish to be a leader, if you wish to be a king or a prime minister or a president, you must consist of these 10 qualities, because the role of the king is to serve the humanity. So when the kings or when the leaders have these kind of qualities, the entire humanity will be benefited. That is why we need to cultivate these 10 qualities. So let me remind you, there is a king. I mean, in Cambodia, his name is Jaivarman VII. There is a famous quote written by him. He said that the suffering of the public or the suffering of the people is the suffering of king. So the statement is accepted by the Buddhist philosophy, and the statement is according to Buddhist philosophy, because it is related to the compassion. The Pali term is karuna. Like, I mean, the karuna is about when, I mean, you are moved, you are motivated by the sufferings of others. This is the characteristics of karuna. And it is mentioned in Attasalini, the Abhidhamma commentary. So the suffering of the public is the suffering of the king. So it reflects the compassion of the king. So, and as I mentioned earlier, it is according to the Buddha's teaching. So when you are moved, when you are shaken, when you are motivated to do something good for the sake of the society, after seeing the suffering of others, it means you are endowed with compassion. It means you are compassionate person. Okay, so and there is another king, and his name is in Sri Lanka. His name is Devanampiyatissa, and you know, after the Third Buddhist Council, Buddhist missionaries were sent to different countries, but the Buddhist missionary arrived in Sri Lanka one year later, and led by most Venerable Arahanta Mahinda Thera. So let me remind you the advice of Most Venerable Mahinda. He advised the king Devanampiyatissa, dear king, every human, every animal, every bird in this country has equal right as you to live. This land belongs to everyone in this country. You are just a guardian, you are not an owner. So this advice reflects how the king should be, how the leader should be, how the prime minister, how the president should be. I mean, this is how to be a compassionate leader. It means that according to Buddhist philosophy, you are not allowed to think as a leader that you have superior right to live in the country. No, you have the same, you have the equal right to live in the country wherever you are. And the second point is, leaders are not the owners of the country. They are just the guardian. It means that they have to protect, they have to express their loving kindness to their sons and daughters. They are their citizens. They must think that everyone in the country is like their son and daughter. And they must think that we are the servant. We have to serve everyone with compassion, with loving kindness. We have to render our services fully for the happiness, for the welfare of everyone in the country. So what I want you to understand is this is the Buddhist position in terms of leadership, in terms of kingship. You must cultivate those qualities if you want to become a leader. But another perspective of the discourse is, if you want to lead a healthy life, a long life, a strong, mentally strong life, you have to cultivate your mentality, because your positive mind, your positive thoughts have a positive impact on the cosmos, on the environment, on the climate, on the weather, on the water, on the wind, on the crops you are eating. So the solution from Buddhist philosophy is, you must mentally and physically healthy. It means you have to observe the precepts. You are not allowed to kill anyone. You are not allowed to steal. You are not allowed to engage in sexual misconduct. You are not allowed to cheat anyone. You are not allowed to use alcohol or any drugs, because those behaviors are harmful to our entire society. This is the second part of the discourse. So the first part is about the negative circle process, and the second part is the positive circle process. It means it's about solution. And the first one is how the calamity, how the chaos in our society occur. And the second part, how we go in search of the solution for our modern problem, especially the COVID-19. And let me bring your attention to this. Like, okay, the discourse discusses about the leadership, the kingship. So, but I mean, if we don't have enough ability, if we don't have enough capacity to change the leaders, what should we do? According to Buddhist philosophy, if you cannot change anyone around you, you must change yourself. If you cannot find a good person, you must be one. According to Buddhist philosophy, before we change the entire world, we must change ourselves. So the entire teaching of the Buddha is for us to transform the way we think, to transform our lifestyle to be a healthy one. So my suggestion, if you want to lead a healthy life, you have to practice the teaching of the Buddha as much as you can, because it's a rare opportunity. It's a rare opportunity, my friends. It's very rare to listen to the Dhamma, to the teaching of the Buddha, because his teaching will change the way you think. When you change the way you think, you will change the way you feel. When you change the way you feel, your life will be happy. Your life will be successful. Your life will be loving. So, my friends in Dhamma, the purpose of bringing the sutta into your attention is, I want you to understand one philosophy in Buddhism, that is Paticcasamuppada. The translation is dependent origination. It means everything is in a circle process. And very obvious example, I think you know, Brother Vicky, we call it the food chain story. Okay, let me remind you, when we were young, in the scientific book, we studied about the food chain story. So how it start, okay? And yeah, in the picture, you just imagine the grass under the sun, and the grasshopper, eats the grass, and after that, the frog eats the grasshopper, and then what happened? The snake eats the frog, and what happened next? The eagle eats the snake. So this is the circle, and when the eagle die, his skin, bone will become fertilizer for the grass. So that is why I call it food chain story, and that is why I call it, that's why I call it circle process. So this is the circle process of every phenomena in our life. In Buddhism, we call it Paticcasamuppada, or another translation is cause and effect law. So according to Buddhism, everything happening in our life is under the law of cause and effect. In simple terms, what goes around comes around. This is, you have to understand. The way you think, the way you talk, the way you behave, you behave will affect your entire life. That is why what goes around comes around. And I remember another good example, I think, to be honest, because the social media is very very obvious. And I mean, the example is very funny, but I'm not saying that it is right or wrong, but I want you to understand the circle process of the phenomena. Hope Brother Vicky saw it. I mean, it goes like this. A woman is afraid of cockroaches. Okay, cockroaches are afraid of man. Man is afraid of woman. So let me repeat again. Woman is afraid of cockroaches. cockroaches are afraid of man, man is afraid of woman. So, I mean, just as I told you earlier, I mean, don't judge that it is right or wrong, but just an example to understand the circle process of the entire phenomena in the universe. And that is why Buddhism don't believe or don't accept the philosophy of creationism, that the world, everything, the entire cosmology, the human, I mean, the entire mankind, everything, even the planet, the sun, the moon, are not created by anyone. They are in the circle process. There is a cause and effect. That is why another saying in Buddhism, you reap what you sow. Good begets good. Bad begets bad. So we are the creator. According to Buddhist philosophy, we are the creator. And our mind can be harmful creator and can be harmonious creator, or can be peaceful creator. So that is why Buddhism emphasizes on taking care of your own mind. Okay, so let me finish the second part of the discourse, and let us go to the final part. So the final part is very important, and I mean, it is very essential for everyone as the leader. Let me read the translation of the verse. When the cattle are crossing a ford, if a chief bull goes crookedly, all the other go crookedly. You know why? Because their leader has gone crookedly. Then the Buddha added, so too, bhikkhus, among human beings, when the one considered the chief behave unrighteously, the other people do so as well. And the Buddha emphasizes, when, the entire kingdom is dejected, is depressing, when the king is unrighteous. So these are the sayings of the Buddha. So it's very good metaphor, and I think you have ever seen how the cattle are crossing the road or crossing a ford or crossing the bridge. So the leader must go straight. If the leader goes crookedly, the entire follower will go crookedly. And so the second verses, Buddha explain the positive side of being a good leader. He said, when the cattle are crossing a ford, if the one considered to be chief or the chief bull goes straight across, okay, the other will go straight across, because their leader has gone straight across. So too, bhikkhu, among human beings, when the one considered to be chief conduct himself righteously, the other will do so as well. The entire kingdom rejoices if the king righteous. So this is the word of the Buddha. And it is understandable that the role of the leader, the role of the president, the role of the prime minister, I mean anyone, the role of the director of any company or of any societies. If you have decided to become a leader, you have to consist of good qualities because you are the role model, because you are the director, because you are the leader. You know, because there are thousands of people are following you. So you have a huge responsibility to take care of yourself and to take care of everyone who is following you. That is why the Buddha emphasizes on the qualities of the leader, emphasizes on the qualities of the king. Because when we leaders don't follow the rule, don't follow the regulation, don't follow the law, the entire society will be chaotic, will be in calamity, will be in disaster. So, be a good leader is a way to become a good divine being. Being a good leader is a good quality for the enlightenment. So, my dear friends, in Dhamma, what you have to understand is you have to spend more time listen to the Dhamma. It's very rare opportunity because now people are petrified by the COVID-19, by different things in their life. So spend more time to listen to the holy words of the Buddha. So today we have discussed the discourse name Dhammika Sutta, the Unrighteous. And if you want to read more, if you want to read it by yourself, you can refer to the book translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. And let me remind you again the page number 458. So finally, again, I would like to say thank you to Brother Vicky for his great service to run a channel to share the holy words of the Buddha to everyone in the world. So by the power of merits we have gained today, I would like to bless Brother Vicky and his teams who are running the Buddhist channel. May you all be well and happy. May all divine beings bless you and protect you. Especially, I would like to bless our friends in Dhamma. May you be well and happy. May we all be free from mental and physical suffering. Sukhi Hotu. sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Thank you for listening to my Dhamma talk.